We are biology students of plus 1A from BHILLOWAL Amritsar 2. Today we are going to learn skeletal system. So let's start with two of my companions, Harman and Charan.
Skeletal system. Skeletal system is a framework of bones and cartilages which help us in movements. Our skeletal system is made up of 206 bones, which is divided into two parts called axial and appendicular. Axial is divided into cranial, which is included in skull, and it is also divided into ribs, sternum and vertebral column. We are going to explain the skull. Skull is divided into two set of bones called cranial bones and facial bones, which are 22 in number. Cranial bones are 8 in number, which are frontal bone, parietal bone, temporal bone and occipital bone. Our facial bones are 14 in number, which are sphenoid bone, ethmoid bone, lacrimal bone, nasal bone, zygomatic bone, maxilla and mandible. Mandible help us in chewing the food, which is a movable jaw, and we can talk with the help of mandible. We have a hyoid bone in the low base of the buccal cavity, which is U-shaped bone. And we have three tiny bones in our middle ear which help us in hearing the sound, called malleus, incus and stapes, collectively called ear ossicles. The skull region articulates with the vertebral column by two bones called occipital condyles.
Today Deepika and Ashmi are going to explain vertebral column. Now in the vertebral column there are 26 bones, in which the 7 bones from the starting are of the cervical, which is neck bone.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And the next 12 bones are of chest cavity, which are known as thoracic.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
After this, the next 5 are of the lumbar, which is of lower back.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And the one is of sacrum. And one is scapula, which is known as the tailbone.
Now I Harpreet and I Arpita present here to discuss about the rib cage. It is a part of the exoskeleton. There are total 24 bones and collected to the 12 ribs. Each rib is thin, flat, connected to the dorsally to the vertebral column and ventrically to the sternum. It has two articulations on its dorsal side and hence called bicephalic. The first 7 pairs of ribs are connected directly to the sternum and hence called true ribs. 8, 9, 10 ribs are called false rib because they are not directly connected to the sternum. They are connected to the 7th rib with the help of hyaline cartilage. Hyaline cartilage is a type of connective tissue found in areas such as nose, ears and trachea of the human body. The word hyaline means glass-like, and hyaline cartilage is a glossy grayish-white tissue with the uniform appearance. 11, 12 ribs are called floating ribs because they are not directly connected to the sternum on any rib. True ribs, false ribs and floating rib consist together as rib cage. Rib cage protects our body organ like heart and lungs, and it also facilitates the process of respiration.
Sharon and I Jyoti explain the appendicular skeleton. We know that appendicular skeleton have 126 bone. It have 2 limbs, forelimb and upper limb. Each limb consists 30 bones. Firstly, we understand forelimb. We have humerus. It is attached with shoulder, so it is known as shoulder girdle. Then we have radius and ulna. Radius is turned over on the ulna and it helps in the actions. Then we have a hinge joint which join the humerus and the ulna bone. and make elbow. Then we have 8 small bones which is called carpals and it made a wrist. Then we have 5 in number metacarpals. Then we have phalanx 14 in number. Each finger have 3 phalanx except thumb because thumb have 2 phalanx. Now we understand the lower limb. We have a femur. It is the longest bone in the body and it is known as the thigh bone. Then we have patella, but it is not present at birth. It is developed by the growth of body and it is help in walking. Then we have tibia and fibula. Tibia is thicker than the fibula. Then we have dorsals. Dorsals is 7 in number and make the ankle. Metatarsals is 5 in number, and then we have phalanx which is 14 in number. Each finger have 14. Each finger has 3 in number, but toe has 2 phalanx.
Now I, Sharon,
And I, Jasmine.
present here with the topic pectoral girdle. Pectoral girdle and pelvic girdle helps in the articulation of upper and lower limbs with the axial skeleton. Each girdle consists of 2 halves. Each half of pectoral girdle consists of a clavicle and a scapula. Scapula is a large triangular flat bone situated in the dorsal part of thorax, between the 2nd and the 7th rib.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
The dorsal flat triangular body of scapula has a slightly elevated ridge called spine, which project as a flat expanded process called acromion. The clavicle also articulates with this. Below the acromion, there is a small depression called glenoid cavity. The glenoid cavity with the head of humerus form the shoulder joint. Each clavicle is a small slender bone which is also called collarbone. Thank you.
I, Dilpreet and Gurjeet will explain the topic pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle is formed with the left and right hip bone and it connects our lower limb with axial skeleton. It is a part of appendicular skeleton.
Pelvic girdle consists of 2 flexor bones. Each flexor bone is formed by the fusion of 3 bones: ilium, pubis, and ischium.
This is a femur, which is the longest bone of our body. It forms a joint which is known as ball and socket joint with our hip bone. Next comes kneecap. This is also known as patella. It isn't present at childbirth. It is formed slowly at growth and when it supports in crawling and walking. Then comes tibia and fibula. Tibia is the longer one and fibula is the shorter one. It forms ankle joint here. This is ankle joint and there are 7 tarsals present here. Next come metatarsal, which is connected with our fingers. Next come phalanges, which are 14 in number, 3 in each finger and 2 in toe.
I finish you with my companions Amit and Thamnis is present here to explain the topic joints. Joint is essential for all the movements of the body. Joints are a point of contact between bones or between bones and cartilages. There is 3 types of joints: fibrous, cartilaginous and synovial. Fibrous joints are those joints who do not show any movement. This is shown in a flat skull bone which fuse end to end with the help of dense fibrous connective tissue called suture to form cranium. In our whole skull there is only one bone whose name is mandible, who is not connected with the joint fibrous.
The next joint is cartilaginous joint. It is also called amphiarthrosis. These joints provide limited movements and it is present between the vertebral column and the rib cage.
I am Bhavneet and I am explaining the next joint, that is known as synovial joint. It is also called diathyrosis. These joints provide free movements of bones because of the synovial gap and the synovial fluid. It has some subparts.
Pivot joint is between the atlas and axis. This helps to the movement of skull. Next joint is saddle joint. Between the carpal and metacarpal helps to the rotation of wrist. Ball and socket joint helps to the rotation of arms.